हरे हरे नाम नाम
हरे कृष्णा जी।
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण
दंडवत
हरे
प्रणाम। कृष्ण
कृष्ण।
प्रभुपाद। स्टार्ट मंगलाचरण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Continue with our prayer. This Bhaja Govindam Stotram by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Let me share my screen. Anybody would like to sing today? All right, I'll sing then, and then we'll read the translations. Always do. Let's post the link in the chat. भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते। भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते। सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुष्कृन्करणे। नहि नहि रक्षति दुष्कृन्करणे। मूढजहीः धनागमतृष्णां कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णां। यल्लभसे निज कर्मोपात्तं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम्। नारीस्तनभर नाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम्। एतन्मांसा वसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्। नलिनीदलगतजलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलं। विद्धि व्याध्य भीमानाग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तं। यावद्वित्तो पार्जनसक्तः स्थावन्निजपरिवारो रक्तः। पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे। यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे। गतवति वायौ देहापाये भार्या बेभ्यति तस्मिन् काये। बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीशक्तः। वृद्धस्ताव चिन्तासक्तः परिब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः। का ते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः। कस्य त्वं कः कूत आयातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रातः। सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः। वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः का सारः क्षिणे वित्ते कः परिवारः ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुकृन्करणे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री गोविंद भज गोविंदम स्तोत्रम की जय। श्रीपाद आदि शंकराचार्य की जय। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Okay, anybody would like to take up the service of reading the translation of this wonderful bhajan?
I can do, Guruji.
Yes, Shri Mataji. Thank you.
Worship Govinda, worship Govinda, worship Govinda. O fool, rules of grammar will not save you at the time of your death. O fool, give up your thirst to amass wealth. Devote your mind to thoughts to the real. Be content with what comes through actions already performed in the past. Do not get drowned in delusion by going wild with passions and lust, by seeing a woman's navel and chest. Bodies are flesh, fat, and blood. Do not fail to remember this again and again in your mind. Uncertain is the life of man as raindrops on a lotus leaf. Know that the whole world remains a prey to disease, ego, and grief. So long as a man is fit and able to support his family, see the affection all those around him show. But no one at home cares to even have a word with him when his body totters due to old age. When one is alive, his family members inquire kindly about his welfare, but when the soul departs from the body, even his wife runs away in fear of the corpse. Childhood is lost in play. Youth is lost by attachment to woman. Old age passes away by thinking over many past things. Alas, hardly is there anyone who yearns to be lost in Parabrahman. Who is your wife? Who is your son? Strange is this samsara. Of whom are you? Where have you come from? Brother, ponder over these truths. From satsanga comes non attachment. From non attachment comes freedom from delusion, which leads to self settledness. From self settledness comes Jivan Mukti, liberation. What good is lust when youth has fled? What use is a lake which has no water? Where are the relatives when wealth is gone? Where is samsara, the continuation of birth and death, when the truth is known? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shri Mataji. Yes. So, unlike in the material world, like we see here, when a man is fit, people are supporting his family, supporting his friends, wealth, everything is there. Right? But in contrast, in spiritual life, we see, devotees, bhaktas, they are so kind, compassionate, always, right? Irrespective of time, place, and circumstances. And we see like how much Prabhupada is being loved by his disciples, even at the age of 72, how much he's being cared for and he's being loved and he's being served by his disciples. So continuing from Prabhupada Leelamrit, yesterday we saw Prabhupada is now transitioning. Because he's recuperating after his mild heart attack and stroke in Long Branch, New York, and we see his disciples. They have been so nicely serving him, not just physically, but also in mind and in words and instructions, and how they have been praying to the Lord Nrsimhadev to help their spiritual master get better so that he can accomplish his mission, right? And Prabhupada, so this is like mode of service, both in union and separation. So those devotees who had the opportunity to serve him physically, they were there in the Long Branch house on the beach. But those were very, very few, right? But rest everybody else, like even be it in 26th Avenue New York Temple or in San Francisco, New Jagannath Puri, they were all chanting for his good health. And that was giving more pleasure to Srila Prabhupada, right? Physically serving is yes one thing, but those who were serving, being separate from him, being away from him, still praying to the Lord for his good health, and continuing the sadhana that Prabhupada had taught them, that is what gave him more pleasure. So similarly, our acharyas, they may be only physically present with us for some time, right? So the Vapu Seva is only temporary, but the Vani Seva, by serving their instructions, we please them more. And that's what Prabhupada is showing us by this example of himself present there. And yeah, all small things, he was teaching his disciples yesterday, we saw, of not to wear leather things, and what is the point of considering ourselves body, whether be it a man or a woman, right? It is not, we are not bodies, we are spirit, soul, and we should always remember that we are eternal servants of the Lord. So very nice teachings, and Prabhupada is now considering going to India so that he can also serve his devotees there, right? He was thinking of opening an American house there so that he can initiate his brahmachari disciples into sannyasis and open a house in Vrindavan so that they can come there. And of course, Prabhupada is also thinking of going back to San Francisco near Jagannath Puri so that he can do the Rath Yatra there. Okay, so we completed 25th chapter yesterday. We'll continue 26th chapter today. Swamiji's departure. Anybody would like to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
At the San Francisco airport, Prabhupada smiled, but said little as the devotees greeted him with flowers and kirtan. It was different this time. He walked straight ahead with aid of a cane. Jayananda was waiting with his station wagon to drive Prabhupada to the private house they had rented north of the city at Stinson Beach. But first, Prabhupada said he wanted to visit San Francisco Radha Krishna Temple. Jayananda drove to 518 Frederick Street. Prabhupada got out of the car and entered the small storefront, which was filled with waiting devotees and guests. He bowed before the smiling Jagannath deities and, without speaking a word, left the room, returned to the car, and departed to Stinson Beach. The ride up through the seaside cliffs was so winding and climbing that Prabhupada became nauseated, and even lying down in the back seat and having Jayananda drive slower didn't help much. Kirtananda realized that it would be too difficult for Prabhupada to visit the San Francisco temple from Stinson Beach, but maybe that would be just as well. He could spend all of his time recuperating. It was a modern, single-story, six-room house with a Japanese roof. A sign out front read Paradiso. Srila Prabhupada noticed in the front yard, amidst fashionable lawn furniture, a statue of Lord Buddha, a garden ornament. When Prabhupada entered the house, he found Mukunda and his wife Janaki waiting for him. They bowed down, and Janaki wept in happiness. Prabhupada smiled, but kept walking slowly and silently through the house. The large living room overlooking the Pacific Ocean was decorated with some of Jadurani's paintings of Lord Vishnu, Radha and Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya, as well as with Indian prints of Jagannath Puri. Prabhupada's bedroom, also facing the ocean, had sliding windows. On the wall was a portrait of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and a painting of Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada smiled and said the paintings were very nice. The devotees agreed that only Kirtananda and Upendra would stay and serve Swamiji. They wanted Swamiji's stay to be peaceful so that his health could improve. That night, Srila Prabhupada felt pain in his heart and couldn't sleep, and he didn't rise early for translating. At 5 a.m., Kirtananda came in and opened the window slightly so that Prabhupada could receive soft ocean breeze. Prabhupada sat up in his bed chanting his japa and gazing at the feet of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. A mountain range to the east blocked the morning sun. Ever since Prabhupada's stroke, Kirtananda had been regularly massaging Prabhupada morning and evening. Kirtananda would rub Prabhupada's head vigorously and then sit behind him and massage his back. Next, he would massage Prabhupada's chest, his arms, his legs, and the complete massage lasting sometimes more than an hour. Since leaving the hospital, Prabhupada had also been taking daily morning walks, even while on the lower east side. And this morning he went down for a walk on the beach, accompanied by Kirtananda and Upendra. As Prabhupada walked on the beach, he pointed his cane towards some bubbles in the sand. Just see, he said, there are living entities everywhere. There is no place without living entities, and yet they say there is no life on the moon. The beach was rocky, and there were cliffs where the waves crashed powerfully like thunder. You hear this sound? Srila Prabhupada asked. This is an echo of gopis' heartbeats when they are feeling separation from Krishna. He walked for an hour until his two young servants were both tired. Do I tire you walking? He laughed. This walking and massaging are saving my life from day to day. Then he continued walking. By 11 o'clock, the sun finally appeared over the mountains and through the clouds. Srila Prabhupada, his head wrapped with a towel, sat in the folding chair on the beach, taking in the sunshine. He kept saying he needed more sun. After lunch, the sky was again overcast. In the evening, Prabhupada called Kirtananda and Upendra into the large living room and let them in. Subdued Kirtan, singing Hare Krishna and Govinda Jaya Jaya. He stood and led them in the large circle around the room. He would stop before the picture of Krishna, bow slightly with folded palms, turn around, and then continue in the circle. On July 8th, after Prabhupada had been at Paradiso for 2 days, Shyamasundar and Mukunda drove up from San Francisco. The next day was to be Rath Yatra, and Shyamsundar and Mukunda, the first devotees to visit Prabhupada since his arrival at Stinson Beach, told Prabhupada all about the festival preparations. Of course, the whole festival had been Prabhupada's idea, but the devotees in San Francisco were trying to do exactly as he had asked. Srila Prabhupada had first gotten the idea for the festival while looking out of the window of his room above Frederick Street. Noticing flat bed trucks passing below, he thought of putting Jagannath deity on the back of such a truck and conducting an American-style Rath Yatra festival. He had even sketched a truck with 4-pillared canopy on the back and decorated with flags, bells, and flower garlands. And he had called in Shyamsundar, "Make me this cart for Rath Yatra." Now ready and sitting outside the temple on Frederick Street was the cart, a yellow Hertz rental truck, complements of diggers, and complete with 5-foot columns and a pyramidal cloth canopy. Sitting with Prabhupada on the beach, Mukunda told how all the devotees were working with great enthusiasm and how the hippies in Haight Ashbury were talking about Jagannath parade that would take place the next day. The devotees had tried to route the parade through Golden Gate Park, but the police department would only give permission for them to go south down Frederick Street to see. Mukunda said the devotees planned to have Jagannath under the canopy facing the right side of the truck, Subhadra facing the rear, and Balram facing the left side. He wanted to know if that was all right. Actually, Prabhupada said the deities would ride in separate carts, pulled with ropes by the crowd through the streets. Maybe that would happen in future years. Do it nicely, he cautioned them, and don't hurry it up. The devotees would drive the truck slowly through the streets down to the beach, and there should be constant kirtan. Mukunda and Shyamasundar glorified Jayananda. He drove all around San Francisco getting donations of fruits and flowers, found people to help decorate the cart, installed the sound system on the truck, and distributed posters in the stores. He was tireless, and his enthusiasm was inspiring everyone else to take part. The women had been cooking chapatis all day, so there should be thousands to give away to the crowd. The devotees had prepared hundreds of Hare Krishna Rath Yatra festival balloons to release on the streets as the parade began. When the devotees asked what else they should do, Prabhupada said that this was all a procession, prasadam distribution, kirtan. The people should take a chance to see Lord Jagannath and chant Hare Krishna. There should be chanting and dancing in front of the cart throughout the procession. But do everything nicely, Prabhupada said. Do it as well as you can, and Jagannath will be satisfied, and Lord Jagannath would be satisfied. The next day, in the quiet afternoon, Prabhupada was sitting in the living room, chanting on his beads. Upendra was with him, and Kirtananda was in the kitchen cooking a feast. Suddenly, Prabhupada heard the familiar ringing of cymbals, and he became very happy, his eyes widening. Looking aside, he saw the Rath Yatra truck with Lord Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baldev, and dozens of devotees and hippies eager to see him. He went out to greet them and had them bring the deities inside and set them on the top upright piano. Devotees and guests followed, filling the large living room. Smiling, Prabhupada embraced some of the men while others made obeisances at his feet. Some devotees helped Kirtananda in the kitchen get ready to distribute the large feast he had prepared. Others reported on the success of Rath Yatra festival. It was great, it was wonderful, it was a beautiful day, they said. And Prabhupada listened, moved by his disciples' description of celebration. Many hippies had joined in the last procession. Mukunda, Haridas, Hayagriva, and some of the women had been on the cart, and the instruments, including Yamuna's playing on the harmonium, had all been amplified. Everyone in the street had liked it. The police motor escorts had tried to hurry the devotees, but so many people had crowded in front that the parade had been obliged to go slowly, just as Swamiji had asked. Subala had danced widely the whole time. Ajananda had been jumping up and down, playing kartals. From the truck, some of the women had handed out cut oranges, apples, and bananas, and others had thrown flowers. The crowd had loved it. Shamasundar told how they had been going up a steep hill. Shamasundar had been driving with his dog, Ralph, beside him on the front seat when the truck had stalled. He had tried to start engine but couldn't. Then the brakes wouldn't hold. The truck began rolling backward downhill. Finally, he had managed to stop. But when he had tried to go forward, the engine had stalled and the truck had rolled backwards again. He would he would get it started. The truck would go forward and then stall. And then stalled. He had tried to start the engine, but he couldn't. Then the brakes wouldn't hold. The truck began rolling backward. Okay. Finally, he had managed to stop. But when he had heard to go forward, the engine had stalled and the truck had rolled backwards again. He would get it started. The truck would go forward, then stall, then roll backwards. Everyone had been in anxiety. At last, the truck had started forward and the procession had continued all the way to the beach. Prabhupada smiled. It was a pastime of Lord Jagannath's, he said. The same thing had happened when Lord Chaitanya had attended Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri. Then also the cart had gotten stuck, and so one had been able to move it. The king of Orissa had brought forward the most powerful wrestlers to push the cart and pull on the ropes, but it wouldn't go. Even the elephants couldn't move it. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had then put his head against the cart and pushed, and then only did the cart begin to move. Now Rath Yatra had come to the west, and with it, this pastime of Lord Jagannath's. Prabhupada noticed some devotees were missing. Where are Yamuna and Janaki? He asked. The devotees told him that some hippies had handed out candy spiked with LSD and that a few of the devotees had unwittingly accepted it and were just now recovering. Subala related how, after the festival, they had traveled out on the freeway in their flower-bedecked, canopy-covered truck, carrying 30 devotees and the deities of Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baldev. They had driven up through the mountains in what must have been one of the most unusual vehicles ever seen. After all the visitors departed, the deities remained in the house with Prabhupada and his servants. Prabhupada felt satisfied that his disciples had successfully held a Rath Yatra festival. Although untrained, they were sincere. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and Bhakti Vinod Thakur would have been pleased to see the first American Rath Yatra. The whole world was in anxiety, Prabhupada explained to the devotees gathered in his room that evening. Only in the spiritual world was there freedom from anxiety. Becoming free from all anxiety and returning to the spiritual world was the purpose of Krishna consciousness. And the festivals like Rath Yatra made people Krishna conscious. Prabhupada had many ideas for festivals. If he had money and the manpower, he said, he would have a festival every day. There was no limit to Krishna consciousness. This Rath Yatra festival was another sign of good reception of Krishna consciousness in the West. He wrote Brahmananda in New York. The house is situated in an exceptionally nice spot, and the house itself is aristocratic. So there is nothing to complain about the house and place. The only difficulty is that I cannot go to the temple on account of zigzag course of road and crossing the mountains. Anyway, the devotees are coming here, and the Rath Yatra festival was just performed with great pomp. More than 500 people followed the procession to the beach, and there were about 24 cars. They distributed thousands of chapatis, and at last, Sri Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baldev kindly came here in our house and will stay here for a week and then return.
Okay, I think we'll stop here. Thank you so much for reading this morning. Yes, anything you'd like to share from today's reading?
Yeah, it was a beautiful reading. The first Rath Yatra in Western America. It was wonderful. I was thinking, I've seen a lot of pictures of Prabhupada in the Rath Yatras of San Francisco. I was thinking it would be that, but no, it wasn't that because Prabhupada wasn't in the procession. So yeah, many things were going in my mind. I was thinking about our first Rath Yatra and how excited we were when we had it. So there would have been so much of excitement with the devotees there. And Jayananda Prabhu's contribution, we still remember in all the Rath Yatras. It would have been like unparalleled to anything else. It was just a very happy feeling of, this great success of the first Rath Yatra and how it was spreading so far and wide in San Francisco. That was amazing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, yeah. Like Jayananda Prabhu's energy and enthusiasm was infectious. Everybody else was getting infected with it. And yeah, like Malati Mataji was saying, he was the first saint in ISKCON. And of course, yeah, we see like Prabhupada, again, the same thing. Like, serving Prabhupada in Vani, not Vapu, right? When he was not there physically. But like Prabhupada says, they had no training, these disciples, these devotees, but they just heard his instructions and sincerely followed his instructions. And it was a grand festival, celebration, success. Just by following Prabhupada's instructions, they organized and they wonderfully conducted this first ever Rath Yatra. So that is the glory of following a guru's instructions sincerely. And yeah, Prabhupada is so pleased. And just like he says, he's relating Jagannath's pastimes in India, when Rath would not move, Rath would stop because Jagannath would stop. He is, of course, the Lord of the universe. He wants to move when he wants, and he wants to stop where he wants. Like when at Bhakti Vinod Thakur's home, it stopped when little Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was born, and the Rath was stopped at his house, and it would not move. And only when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati as a small child was brought out, and he was put on the Rath Yatra cart, and then a flower garland fell on him, and that time Bhaktivinoda Thakur realized that this is the blessed child that Lord Krishna has sent. So like that, and then Prabhupada, of course, he remembers Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, right? Only when he pulled or he pushed the cart, then it moved. So similarly, the same thing happens. The transcendental pastime Prabhupada is correlating. That's happening here in San Francisco, where the truck stopped and eventually, it moved after Shyamsundar Prabhu finally was able to get it going. But yeah, yes, a lot of nice things from today's reading. Thank you so much once again. Anybody else would like to share any reflections?
Yes, Prabhuji, I would like to share this. And we had the first Rath Yatra in Indianapolis, and we had to face so many obstacles and so many problems. But Krishna was so kind and so merciful. At last, we made it with thousands and thousands of people. They had gathered in the Rath Yatra procession, where it was on 4th Independence Day of America. So many people were to see this beautiful form of the Lord, and they were all very thrilled. So I was just realizing that how Prabhupada brought this Rath Yatra to the whole world, where the Westerners were not allowed inside the temple, and so the Prabhupada brought Krishna out, and they would enjoy in performing the beautiful Rath Yatra to the whole world. That is what I was amazed, and it was such an emphasis of Prabhupada, and it was wonderful. So just I was thinking of the Rath Yatra, first Rath Yatra in Indianapolis. Thanks, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranams.
Thank you to all the amazing devotees in Indianapolis for conducting this wonderful festival. Yes. Yeah, and by Prabhupada's mercy, Guru Parampara's mercy, of course, we see Rath Yatra now all over the world. And of course, in July, we are reading this in July now, and Prabhupada brought this festival here, and all through June, July, we have been celebrating Rath Yatras all over the country. But yes, in Midwest, yeah, we had last year in Cincinnati, and of course, we'll have again this year in September. But yeah, Indianapolis, we had in Columbus a few weeks ago. Shri Amataji was talking about Pittsburgh. I think we had in Wheeling last weekend. So yeah, June, July, we've been celebrating a lot of Rath Yatras. And it's nice to see that we are reading the same pastime in July of 1967, when Prabhupada first started this. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you to everyone for sharing beautiful reflections. I also see one kind of instruction or here from Srila Prabhupada, what he said about the festivals. If he had the money and manpower, he would do festivals every day. I know we had this discussion at our center once, so this is what Prabhupada's mood was. So if we are able to, we should, I feel we should take this forward. Whenever we have more festivals, we bring people together. So that was one takeaway. And second was, in Rath Yatra, everybody did, in the first Rath Yatra, all the devotees did whatever they could do for contributing. So I really liked where someone was giving out fruits, and some people made the balloons. So it is not just the job or the responsibility of the organizers. Whoever is considers themselves a part of the temple, can do something small as their offering to Lord Jagannath. So we should have the same mood when hopefully next year we will have our own Rath Yatra, or even this year. And we all should, as a temple congregation, should have the same mode of what individually we can offer for the Rath Yatra, for Lord, for Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, and then Gopika Mataji. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? Okay, yes, so we'll gear up, tighten our seatbelts. As we have, of course, Janmashtami coming up next month here in Cincinnati. And then, yes, Rath Yatra will be part of our parade as last year. So we look forward to all these wonderful festivals with the contribution, like you said, of all the devotees, in whatever way, form, fashion we can contribute through our skills, through our time, through our talent, through our money, whatever wealth, whatever anything and everything that can be used. That is the proper renunciation, Yukta Vairagya, using it in the service of the Lord. Yeah, of course, we also have to see, we are Grihasthas versus all of, here majority where devotees, initial devotees were brahmacharis and full-time. Of course, there are mixes. There are also some Grihasthas like we see Mukunda and Janaki and Govindadasi, Gaurasundara, etc. But yeah, sometimes if we ask too much and it becomes too hectic also, then it becomes challenging. So it's a balancing act. We have to balance our families and temple. But yes, whatever form, fashion we can contribute in, the mood should always be there. If we have a sincere mood, then it's Krishna, and of course our Guru Parampara will bless us that we can get the time and energy also to celebrate more and more festivals. But yeah, like Prabhupada said, go slow. Rath Yatra also, we go slow and steady. It's not be like we spike one day and then we just fall down next day, right? So it should be a gradual growth and progress. Okay, all right. With that, we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for your wonderful participation, thoughts, reflections, which is what makes this more enlivening and all-rounded to understand different points, different perspectives, and apply these teachings and learnings in our lives. Thank you once again. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Krishna. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mate. Dhanvan Pranam.